Hello and welcome to another episode of Room for Seconds. I'm Justin Egan with Craveworthy Brands, introducing this week's amazing episode. What we're going to do today is take you all with us to the recent FSTEC conference, where Gregg Majewski spoke to a room full of both restaurant and restaurant technology leaders as part of the CEO on the Hot Seat segment. It was a huge hit. We got a lot of publicity with the industry publications on this one, I can remember it. So we're bringing you back to that very talk as if you were a member of the audience to allow you to walk away with the same insight. So here are the three main takeaways. Number one, hospitality is the key to success in the restaurant industry. Gregg Majewski is all about service. More specifically, he pushes his corporate store teams and franchisees to put the guest first, ensuring that all processes and systems are created with the customer in mind. Takeaway number two, know technology's role in the restaurant experience. For Gregg, it is important that the human element remain within the restaurant. So the technology he prefers to focus on should improve things like back-of-house operations or make ordering easier or allow restaurants to gather feedback more efficiently. And number three, timing and patience is better than being the first to adopt technology. Being first is not always best, according to Gregg. Instead, he says, give it some time. Let those with the largest margin for error work out the kinks. You'll know soon enough which perform best, and the decision becomes clearer on which one to employ. So stop what you're doing, listen to this episode, and subscribe to Room for Seconds for weekly inspiration with more content like what you're about to hear. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the episode.
So tell us who you are and what you do.
So I'm Gregg Majewski. I'm the CEO and founder of Craveworthy Brands. So we are a platform company that started in January that now has 7 brands announced, 4 brands that I'll be announcing in the next 3 to 4 weeks, totaling over 100 restaurants with 40 under development and 55 restaurants opening September 28th.
And those 4 brands you're going to announce, are those brick and mortar or are those virtual?
Those are brick and mortar.
Okay. Now you briefly were the CEO of 2 companies simultaneously, which makes you a disruptor right there. And hopefully, and thankfully that was a trend that never caught on for those of us who have one job. But of course it was just a bridge to Craveworthy. Now, how do you plan to make Craveworthy different?
So I believe that a company's process has to be all about who you're serving. And in the restaurant industry, we serve our guests. So I want to make hospitality the focus on what we do day in and day out. And too many of us in this industry are forgetting that hospitality is key. It's how you win guests. It's how you make your franchisees money. And that's where we're going to be the disruptor. We're going to go back to what made the restaurant industry so special, which is taking care of the guests day in and day out.
And how important is technology to that effort, and where does it fit in?
So technology is the new way for customers to order. It's a new way for you to be present when they want food, which is all the time when they want it, not in the old days where you had to peak hours here and there. The importance with technology is make the ordering experience better, but do not replace the level of hospitality. I'm not a fan of technology that brings food to the table. I'm not a fan that eliminates the personal touch of a restaurant, which sets you apart and is different. So that's where we're going to look at technology in the back of the house, technology in the ordering platform, technology in taking care of customer feedback with companies like Ovation and our partners like that.
So when you're shopping for acquisition candidates, do you assess their tech orientation?
So obviously we're in a bit of a different situation than most people. When we look at the brand, I look at what the brand is about and what the food is about and what the culture is about. I can fix tech, I can fix operations, I can fix that, but you can't fix the dynamic of great food. And that's what we look for when we try to acquire something.
Well, sort of a similar question. You're also building a company, you're building a support structure. How important is a tech orientation in the people that you hire, that you bring on board on the team? Is that?
So, it's obviously extremely important. In the last 2 months, we've hired 3 outstanding individuals that are all focused on the tech side and come with a tech background. And because we know that we have to go ahead and be disruptors and be a way to attract new sales and get new revenue in through the system. So tech is the basic of everything that we do. Hospitality is what's going to keep you around.
And how much of your time is spent focused on technology, and how does that compare to when, say, you were CEO of Jimmy John's?
Well, Jimmy John's, when I got there, had no tech. We wrote delivery tickets by hand. So, I mean, obviously we're spending a ton of time focusing on it day in and day out. We're looking at new ways to bring in revenue, new partners to bring in. But the most important thing that we're focusing on is not bringing in too much tech, because too much tech also bottlenecks the restaurant. It makes people lazy and it forgets how they're supposed to do things. And our franchisees don't want a huge tech stack that costs $1 million a month. They want to be able to make money.
Well, that's a very interesting point. How do your franchisees react to new technology? Because a lot of them are going to look at it as, here's another cost for me.
So, I mean, the nice thing about it is I'm a franchisee of all my brands. So with that being said, I feel the pain every time I make a decision to bring something in. So I look at every decision that we make, it has to actually increase not only their bottom line, but the ability for a top line. And not just tell me that I'm saving management hours. So most of the time when we bring it in, our franchisees are excited because they know we thoroughly vet every item before we do it, and that if I'm signing off on it, I know how it's going to affect me personally and them as franchisees.
How often do you play the spoiler, where someone has a tech idea or falls in love with a piece of technology and you have to say, not right?
So quite a bit. I say no way more than I say yes. But again, if it's a good idea, we always end up getting there. And the team's able to, the nice thing about working with us and working with the incredible people that we have is they truly are able to tell me, no, you're an idiot. You have to do this. They have to fight for what they believe in. And if I don't have that around me, then I'm just a person being a dictator, and that's not what makes a great company.
So how is the decision-making process structured in your company? Do ideas float up to you? Are you involved in the inspiration stage, so to speak? Give us a sense of how tech decisions are made.
So it's a combination of all. There's many times I send an email out because I'm with someone or I see something. We got to do this. This is great. And then they feed it back saying, I don't think that was the right move. And that's the other way they bring me stuff. So again, in a true company, then when you're trying to build a culture, everybody's got to be involved in every aspect of the decision, and you can't just be hey, it's going to be my idea and only my idea. And it was something I learned a long time ago, is that yes, there's somebody who ultimately has to be in the hot seat that has to say yes or no, but the team has to agree, and we have to get there as one.
You've been at this business a month or two. One of the big topics of conversation here at FSTEC has been artificial intelligence. What's your take on it as someone who's, has ketchup in your veins, so to speak? So
this is obviously a setup question. So I think AI is the devil of this industry. I think it has outstanding components for back of the house, making life easier and production, how you figure it. I think AI in serving your customers or having any effect in feedback or outreach and everything else, you don't do the company or the employees that you're supposed to train. This is supposed to be their first jobs. So if you take away their ability to learn on their first jobs how to have hospitality by having artificial intelligence sort of guide them in how to do it, we're affecting a generation of great new leaders on the basics of how they need to lead and how they need to interact. So you will never, ever see AI in my front of house. It will not be there. It will always be a personal experience, and we will always be hospitable to our guests day in and day out. That's the key.
So the operators here are going to hear a lot about technology, each piece sort of positioned as the greatest thing for sliced bread. What advice would you give to operators to sort of cut through the hype, get to the heart of the matter?
So take your time. Don't be the first one to roll out anything. Wait for some of the big guys that have tons of money to do all the hard work for us, and then jump in when the time's right. So let other people be your idiots and test things, say things are great. Then when it's right for you, make the right decision to actually get involved. And then all these companies that start today, AI, for example, there's 14, 15 of them here trying to preach to us what's the right one. In that time, when it's finally the right choice, there'll be 3 of them. All 3 of them will be the best out there. Decisions made.
Hey viewers, thanks again for supporting Room for Seconds. If you found this episode inspiring, interesting, or any bit informative, please hit that little subscribe button down at the bottom so you never miss an episode. In my 26 years in this amazing industry, I've been blessed with incredible mentorship. This show is my way of giving back. Follow me on LinkedIn, search Gregg Majewski, on Twitter, @Gregg_Majewski. If you still have room for more, visit our website at media.craveworthybrands.com. You'll find more videos, shows, notes, blogs, resources, and an easy way to get in touch with the Craveworthy Brands team. I'm your host, Gregg Majewski. Thanks again for tuning in to Room for Seconds.